The great council chamber floated in orbit above a glowing blue planet. The room was massive, filled with the voices of alien rulers. They shouted, argued, and laughed, their voices echoing off the polished walls. At the long table sat the humans, quiet and still. They did not speak. They did not move. They only watched, their eyes calm but sharp. One alien leader slammed his clawed hand on the table. The humans must pay more taxes, their colonies grow fat, and they give nothing back. Another laughed, his scaled body shaking. Yes, humans are weak. They should be grateful we even let them sit here. The chamber erupted in laughter. Mocking tones bouncing from every side, the humans remained silent, their leader. An older man with grey hair folded his hands on the table. His expression never changed. He only looked at the speakers, as if memorizing every word. The silence from the human side made some aliens uncomfortable, but others only mocked it further. "Why do they not speak?" whispered a young alien delegate nervously. His mentor sneered, "Because they have nothing to say. They have no power. Their fleets are old, their weapons useless. They are nothing more than traders clinging to scraps." At last, a tall alien with silver horns stood and raised his arms. "Let it be written from this day forward. Humans shall lose their trade rights. Their colonies must answer directly to the Empire. They will obey, or they will starve." A loud cheer filled the chamber. The alien rulers laughed and clapped their hands together, celebrating the new law. The sound was deafening, like thunder rolling through the vast chamber. Yet in the middle of the noise, the humans did not move. They sat still as stone. Their silence cut through the chaos like a knife. The young alien delegate leaned close to his mentor again. "They do not look afraid," he whispered. The mentor scoffed. "They should be. What can they do? They have no armies left." But he was wrong. In secret bunkers deep beneath Earth's mountains, vast fleets were hidden. For years, humans had built in silence. Their engineers worked in underground cities. Their soldiers trained in remote camps. The galaxy had forgotten the old stories, but the humans had not. They remembered every insult, every cruelty, every scar back in the chamber. The human leader finally lifted his gaze. His voice was calm but carried across the room. "Are you finished?" The aliens fell silent, shocked that he had spoken. His words were slow, each one sharp. "You believe humans are weak. You believe we have no strength left. You believe we will obey without question." The horned alien slammed the table. "Yes, you will obey. If not, your colonies will be destroyed." The human leader leaned forward. His eyes narrowed. "You have taken from us for centuries. You have taxed us, mocked us, enslaved us. And through it all we waited, and we watched." He paused, letting the words hang heavy in the air. But waiting is over. The chamber filled with murmurs. Aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The laughter was gone, replaced with unease. Some sneered, trying to dismiss the humans' words. But deep inside, a cold fear began to spread. One alien barked out a laugh, forcing courage into his voice. "You speak big words, old man, but you have no ships, no soldiers, no power." The human leader's lips curled into the faintest smile. "Do you believe that because we told you so, or because you wanted to believe it?" The question struck the chamber like a blade. The aliens froze. For the first time, doubt crawled across their faces. Outside the station, unknown to the council, human stealth ships had already arrived. They floated unseen in the void, watching and waiting, their cannons powered, their engines silent. Humanity was no longer the weak race the galaxy mocked. In the chamber, the silence grew heavy. The human leader stood, his chair scraped against the polished floor. The sound echoed like thunder. "You think this vote binds us," he said, his voice steady. "But hear me now. We will not kneel, we will not starve, and we will never be silent again." Gasps filled the chamber. The alien rulers looked at one another, fear mixing with anger. Some shouted threats. Others demanded the humans be removed. But none of their words mattered, for something had changed. The silence that once made humans look weak now made them terrifying. As the humans turned to leave, their boots striking the floor in perfect rhythm, the chamber fell into chaos. The aliens shouted, cursed, and argued, but none dared touch the departing humans. Something in their calm steps felt more dangerous than any weapon. The young alien delegate whispered to his mentor, his voice trembling, "What if they are not weak? What if they were only waiting?" The mentor swallowed hard, his confidence gone. He did not answer. His eyes followed the humans as they walked out, and for the first time, he wondered if the galaxy had just made a terrible mistake. Far above, in the cold black of space, the hidden human fleet drifted silently, waiting for the word. The moment was coming when humanity would finally break its chains, and when that moment arrived, the galaxy would remember forever what it meant when humans said, "Enough." The human leaders' words echoed long after they left the council chamber. The sound of their boots striking the polished floor stayed in the minds of every alien present. Fear spread like wildfire through the empires. Some dismissed it, calling it an empty show. Others whispered in secret, asking the question none dared say aloud: what if the humans had been hiding their strength all along? On Earth, far from alien eyes, hidden doors opened in mountain ranges. Inside were vast tunnels lit with glowing blue lights. Thousands of workers moved with precision. Engineers checked systems, soldiers drilled in silence, and commanders studied maps of the galaxy. Huge warships, silent for years, now came alive as engines roared in the darkness. In one underground command hall, a young officer stood before a group of generals. His voice shook with both fear and pride. "The Council has passed the new law. They think we will kneel, but our fleets are ready. We await the signal." The room fell silent. An older general leaned forward, his eyes burning with fire. "Then the time has come. For centuries we endured. Now they will see what we kept hidden, deep in the void of space." Human stealth ships moved unseen, their black hulls blended with the stars. Captains sat in silence, waiting for a single command. They had trained their entire lives for this moment. But no one knew what would come once the order was given. Would the galaxy unite against them, or break apart in fear? Back in the alien council worlds, leaders argued behind closed doors. Some were furious, pounding their tables. "We must crush them before they rise again," roared a lizard-skinned warlord. Another shook his head, his long tendrils swaying. "Do not be blind. We do not know their strength. If they hid this long, what else have they hidden?" The young alien delegate, who had once whispered doubts to his mentor, now found himself awake at night. His thoughts restless, he remembered the human leader's calm voice. "We will never be silent again." Those words haunted him. He asked his mentor, "Do you think they spoke the truth?" The mentor snapped back, "Do not let fear rule you. They are bluffing. They always bluff." But even as he said it, his eyes betrayed doubt. Meanwhile, on a distant human colony, trouble erupted. Alien patrols arrived, demanding control of trade routes. They raided villages, setting homes on fire. The people cried out. Children hid as soldiers dragged their parents away. One alien officer laughed. "Weak humans, always begging, always silent." But this time the silence broke. From the hills above the colony, hidden batteries of human cannons roared to life. The ground shook as fire lit the sky. Alien ships fell from orbit in burning flames. Soldiers who had mocked humans only hours before screamed in terror as armored figures advanced from the shadows. They were human soldiers, trained in secret, carrying weapons no alien had seen before. Fall back," shouted the alien commander. But it was too late. In less than an hour, the colony was free. The people stood in awe, staring at the soldiers who marched through the streets. A child tugged on her mother's sleeve and whispered, "They came back." The mother nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, they never left us. They only waited." News spread faster than light. Across the galaxy, word arrived. Humans had fought back. They had destroyed an entire alien patrol. Planets that once mocked humans now spoke in hushed voices. Rumors grew. Some said humans had weapons that could shatter worlds. Others whispered of fleets hidden in the dark, waiting for revenge. In the Grand Council, panic filled the chambers. The horned alien who had once declared humans weak slammed his fist again. "This cannot stand. We must unite." We must destroy them before they grow stronger. But others shook their heads. Do you not see? If they could do this at one colony, imagine what they can do across the stars. The young delegate whispered again, but this time not in fear. Perhaps we have awakened something we cannot control. The words spread, carried from one leader to another, and though many tried to deny it, the truth had already taken root. Back on Earth, the human leader stood in the war hall. Looking at a glowing map of the galaxy, his officers surrounded him. Waiting for the decision, he spoke slowly, each word carrying the weight of centuries. They believed we were silent because we were weak. They never understood we were silent because we were patient. That patience ends today. One officer leaned forward. Shall we strike now? The leader looked at him, his face calm but fierce. Not yet. Let them fear the shadows first. Let them look into the dark and wonder what waits there. Fear will break them before our guns ever do. And so the humans waited. Fleets hidden, soldiers ready, weapons armed. But across the galaxy fear grew. Whispers spread like fire. Humans were awake. The galaxy had mocked them, enslaved them, laughed at them. But now every alien voice trembled with a single question. What happens when humans finally say enough? The answer was coming, and none would be ready when it arrived. The galaxy trembled as rumors of the human colony spread. Some called it a lie, a story made to frighten children. Others swore they had seen the wreckage of alien ships still burning in orbit. Either way, the whispers grew louder. Humans had struck back. Inside the Grand Council, fear and anger clashed. The horned alien roared across the chamber. We cannot let this continue. If humans rise, they will drag us all into war. His voice was sharp, but there was unease behind his eyes. Another alien, with glowing skin and sharp fangs, shook her head. You do not understand. They were silent for too long, if they hid this much strength. How much more are they hiding? The young alien delegate who had once doubted now spoke, his voice steady but low. I saw their eyes in the chamber. That was not weakness, that was patience. And patience in humans is more dangerous than fire. The room fell silent for a moment, but then shouts returned. No one agreed. No one trusted the other. Fear divided them as much as pride. Far away above a cold and silent world, the humans prepared their first great strike. A fleet moved from the shadows. Ships black as night drifted through the void. Engines whispered softly. Weapons glowed faintly with restrained power. Inside the lead ship, the human commander stood before his officers. The council believes we are still weak, he said, his voice calm. Tonight, we show them the truth. One officer leaned forward. Our target is confirmed, the raiders' homeworld. They mocked us, they burned our villages. We will make an example. The commander's eyes hardened. And the galaxy will watch. On the alien homeworld, life continued as normal. Bright towers rose into the sky. Cities glowed with neon lights. Families walked across bridges above rivers of glass. No one believed danger was near. The empire had ruled for centuries, and they thought no one would dare strike their heart. Then the sky burned. The first human ship broke through orbit like a shadow tearing the heavens. In seconds, orbital defenses screamed alarms. Cannons fired, but their shots went wide. The human fleet moved with precision, faster and deadlier than anyone imagined. Enemy ships detected, shouted an alien officer in panic. His hands shook as he pressed controls. There are too many, they are everywhere. In the skies, human rail cannons tore apart defense stations. Missiles streaked across the atmosphere. Fire rained down on military bases within minutes. The planet's proud defenses were nothing but smoke. On the ground, people screamed as shockwaves shook the cities. Alien soldiers rushed into the streets, weapons raised, but they froze when they saw human dropships descend like falling stars. Doors burst open, and armored soldiers stepped out. Their visors glowed red. Their rifles hummed with deadly energy. One alien commander raised his weapon and shouted, "Fight them, they are only men!" He fired, but the shot bounced harmlessly off the human soldier's shield. The human raised his rifle. A single shot cracked through the air, and the alien fell. Silence swept across the defenders. In the chaos, human voices echoed through comms. Sector 1 secure. Batteries neutralized, civilians evacuated. Every movement was clean. Controlled, ruthless. They did not kill without purpose. But every strike was final. A frightened alien soldier dropped his weapon and whispered, "They fight like machines," his comrade replied with trembling hands. "No, machines feel nothing. These humans fight with rage." Above the planet, the alien high command sent desperate messages to the council. "They are destroying us. We cannot hold them. Send help." But no help came. Every empire was too afraid to act. Some hoped humans would stop after revenge. Others feared becoming the next target. The battle raged for hours. Cities burned, military strongholds fell, and skies filled with smoke. At last, the human commander stood before a massive screen, showing the planet below. He looked at his officers, his voice low but final. "Transmit the message." Across the galaxy, every channel, every screen, every council hall lit up with the same image. A human commander standing tall in his black uniform, his eyes cold, his voice steady. "This is not conquest, this is not greed, this is justice for centuries. You have mocked us, enslaved us, beaten us. We warned you, we told you enough, you did not listen. Now the galaxy will learn." The signal ended, leaving silence across the stars on the ruined alien world. Fires burned where towers once stood. The people surrendered, their banners lowered. The human fleet rose back into the void, leaving only smoke and silence behind. Back in the council, chaos exploded. Leaders shouted, some demanding immediate war, others begging for peace. The young delegate leaned forward, his voice shaking. "Do you not see? This is only the beginning. They will not stop until the galaxy understands, and I fear by then it will be too late." The horned alien slammed his fist again. "No, we will unite, we will crush them." But even he felt doubt in his words. He remembered the calm face of the human leader in the chamber, and it haunted him. Meanwhile, deep in human command, the leader listened to reports. His officers stood silent, waiting for his order. He nodded slowly, his voice like steel. "One world has fallen. The galaxy knows we are awake. But this is not the end. This is only the first step, and in the dark silence of space, fleets prepared, soldiers armed, and weapons charged. Humanity had shown its hand. The galaxy trembled, and the war that no one wanted but everyone feared had truly begun. The galaxy shook after the fall of the raiders' homeworld. No one had expected humans to strike with such precision. No one had imagined they still had fleets strong enough to tear down an empire in a single night. Fear spread like fire across the stars. In the council chamber, panic ruled, voices clashed. Threats and pleas echoed through the massive room. The horned alien shouted louder than all, "We must unite if we fight them one by one. They will crush us as they crush the raiders." His words made many nod, but others still hesitated. A tall alien with shining eyes hissed, "Unite! Do you forget our rivalries? If we give them power, humans win without firing a shot." Another slammed his fist. "Better to kneel to humans than burn like the raiders." The young delegate stood slowly, his hands trembling, but his voice steady. "You are too late, they warned us. They gave us a chance. We laughed, and now they rise, whatever we do now. The galaxy will never be the same." Meanwhile, in deep space, fleets began to form. Old enemies set aside hatred. Rivals stood side by side, the council had decided. For the first time in history, empires that had fought for centuries agreed to one thing: they would stop humanity together. On Earth, the news reached the war hall. A commander read the reports, his voice calm but serious. "The empires have signed a pact. They are building a united fleet. It will be the largest force ever seen in this galaxy." Silence filled the hall. The human leader did not move, his eyes fixed on the glowing map before him. "Let them come," he said at last. His officers looked at him in shock. One asked, "Sir, they will outnumber us 100 to 1. How can we fight them all?" The leader turned, his voice cold and sharp. "Because they do not understand us. They fight for pride, for greed, for fear. We fight for survival, and survival makes us stronger than numbers. In the dark of space, The united fleet gathered. Thousands of alien warships stretched across the void. Their engines glowed like a sea of fire. Their commanders sent messages of victory before the battle had even begun. They were certain that this time, humans could not win. On the bridge of a human battleship, a young soldier watched the screens. His hands shook as he whispered, "There are so many, how can we fight this?" The commander beside him placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not look at their numbers. Look at us. We are not fighting alone. We are fighting as one people. That is our strength." When the battle began, the void lit up like a storm. Alien fleets surged forward, their weapons flashing. Human ships darted between them, striking with brutal precision. For every human ship destroyed, 10 alien ships fell, but still. "The waves kept coming, shields failing," shouted an officer. Sparks rained down across the bridge. The commander gritted his teeth. "Hold the line, do not break, hours passed." And the battle stretched across entire star systems. Alien commanders believed victory was near, yet something strange began to happen. Their fleets were not working as one. Old rivalries broke through. Some empires accused others of holding back. Some refused to protect ships they once hated. Soon, their unity cracked. On the human flagship, a report came through. "Sir, their formations are breaking. They are fighting each other as much as us." The leader's eyes narrowed. As expected, another officer turned, shocked. "You knew this would happen?" The leader nodded. "Fear does not unite them. It only delays their hatred. They never trusted each other. That is why we waited. We knew they would destroy themselves when pressed." Across the battlefield, alien fleets turned on one another. Betrayals flared. Commanders accused rivals of cowardice. Entire squadrons abandoned the fight to protect their own empires. Chaos spread, and the humans struck like lightning. Dropships poured soldiers onto captured stations. Rail cannons ripped apart flagships. Human voices filled the comms, calm and steady. Target destroyed, sector cleared, enemy fleeing at last. The great horned alien who had pushed for unity screamed into his comms, "Hold the line! Fight them, fight them!" But his words were drowned by silence. His allies had abandoned him, his fleet shattered, and when his flagship exploded in fire, the United Alliance collapsed. In the aftermath, the humans stood victorious. The battlefield was littered with wreckage. Alien ships drifted powerless, their lights fading. Human fleets remained scarred but strong, their discipline unbroken, back on Earth. The human leader listened to the reports. "The alliance is broken. They will not unite again. Their fear is greater than their hatred of us." He gave a slow nod. "Good, then the galaxy begins to learn." But in the shadows, whispers grew darker. Some aliens no longer spoke of fighting humans. They spoke of surrender. Others whispered of something worse. If humans had such strength after centuries of silence, what would they become tomorrow? The young alien delegate sat in his chamber, his hands over his face. He whispered to himself, "We thought we were ending them, but we have only awakened them." He looked out into the stars, his eyes wide with fear, and nothing will stop what comes next. The ruins of the Alliance's defeat still drifted in space, shattered ships glowing faintly like dying stars. For the first time in history, the galaxy's great powers had stood together, and for the first time, they had been broken in a single war. The silence after the battle was heavier than any victory song. In the council chamber, the air was thick with fear. Leaders who once shouted in arrogance now whispered nervously. Their eyes darted toward one another with suspicion. Some spoke of rebuilding fleets, others begged for peace. But no one could deny what they had seen. Humans had crushed them and torn apart their unity. The horned alien's seat remained empty. His flagship had burned with him still inside. His death was a warning to all. The young delegate looked at the empty chair and shivered. He whispered, "This chamber will never feel the same again." At last, a trembling leader rose, her scales reflecting the cold light. "We cannot win by force. We must seek peace before they strike again." Her voice carried across the room, but it was met with jeers. A rival hissed, "Peace! You would beg before them? Better to die fighting." The chamber erupted, voices colliding like weapons. Some called for surrender, others demanded revenge. And in the chaos, a message arrived. The humans had spoken. A hologram filled the room, showing the human leader standing tall in his dark uniform. His eyes calm but merciless. His voice cut through the noise. You sought to break us, you mocked us, you enslaved us, and you thought we would remain silent, that silence is gone. He paused, letting the silence linger. From this day forward, there are only two choices: peace under new order, or war that will end you. The room froze. No threats, no laughter, no jeers. Only silence. The ultimatum was clear on distant worlds. Alien civilians gathered around glowing screens. They whispered in fear. Some wept, others stared in awe. They are not like us, one murmured. They do not bluff. They mean every word. In secret chambers across the galaxy, rulers argued. Some sent quiet messages to Earth, seeking peace in exchange for survival. Others plotted in shadows, swearing revenge no matter the cost. One desperate emperor slammed his hand on the table. They cannot rule us. If we bow, we lose everything, his advisor whispered back. If we do not bow, we lose more than everything. We lose existence. Meanwhile, on Earth, the war hall glowed with maps of star systems. The human leader studied them in silence. His officers waited. One finally asked, "Do you believe they will choose peace?" The leader's voice was calm but cold. Some will, others will cling to pride until pride destroys them. That is the way of empires. Another officer leaned forward. And if they refuse? The leader's eyes hardened. Then they will learn. In the void, fleets remained ready, soldiers trained without rest. Weapons were improved. Humanity had no illusions. They did not expect mercy. They prepared for war even as they offered peace. One evening, in the chamber of the young alien delegate, he sat alone, his thoughts heavy. His mentor had fallen silent. Too ashamed to speak after all his wrong predictions, the young one whispered to himself, "We thought we ruled the galaxy, but we only borrowed it. The humans are here to take it back." Across the stars, cracks grew wider. An empire of winged beings sent envoys to Earth. Seeking an agreement, they promised tribute, protection, and alliance. In return, they begged to be spared. Other empires mocked them for weakness, but in secret, they too began to prepare envoys. Fear broke pride faster than any weapon, but not all were willing. A cluster of warlords in the outer rim swore blood revenge. They rebuilt fleets in hidden yards. Planning ambushes, they whispered to each other. Humans bleed like anyone. We will make them bleed until they beg. Yet none of them truly believed the words. Not deep inside on Earth, reports of these warlords reached the war hall. The leader listened without change in his expression. At last he spoke. "Then they have chosen war." His officers looked uneasy. One asked, "Should we strike them first?" The leader shook his head. "No, let them come. Let the galaxy watch when they fall. Fear spreads fastest when no one can deny it." The warlords gathered their fleets, their ships bristling with weapons. They believed they were ready, but as they launched, a strange silence filled the void. No human fleet moved to meet them. They pushed forward, deeper, closer. Their commanders grew restless. Where are they? Why do they not defend? Then the trap closed. From the darkness, human fleets emerged, black ships appearing as if born from shadow. In seconds, the warlords' fleets were surrounded. Messages of panic filled the comms. They were waiting for us. Break formation. We are trapped. The battle was swift and merciless. Human cannons tore through their lines. Missiles ripped apart their flagships. Within hours, the warlords were no more. Their fleets reduced to drifting wreckage. Their vow of revenge burned to ash. News spread across the stars once again, and this time no one doubted. The humans did not bluff. Their ultimatum was real. Peace under their new order or destruction. Back in the council, silence filled the chamber. Leaders looked at one another with hollow eyes. The young delegate rose slowly, his voice a whisper. "We thought we had a choice, but there was never a choice. Only survival, and far away in the war hall on Earth." The human leader spoke once more to his people, his voice calm but unshakable. "They believed we would never rise. They believed we were broken, but now they know. Humanity will never kneel again. The galaxy was no longer the same. Once proud empires that had mocked humans now lived in fear of them. Fleets that once ruled entire sectors had been reduced to ashes. The ultimatum of Earth spread across every star system, and no one doubted it anymore. The choice was simple: peace under human rule, or destruction. The council chamber, once filled with arrogance and laughter, now stood in silence. The tall walls shimmered with faint light, but there was no joy. Delegates sat in their seats nervously, whispering to one another. The empty chairs of the warlords and the horned alien reminded everyone of what happened to those who defied. At last, the sound of boots echoed across the chamber. Human soldiers entered first, their black armor gleaming, their visors cold. They marched in perfect rhythm. Their presence alone was enough to silence every whisper. Behind them walked the human leaders, their steps slow but firm. The air grew heavy as all eyes turned to them. The human leader stopped at the center of the room. His eyes swept across the chamber. He saw fear in every face, and he let the silence grow until it felt unbearable. Finally he spoke, his voice calm but sharp. "Once you laughed at us, you called us weak. You believed we were finished." His words hung heavy, and we stayed silent, not because we were broken, but because we were patient. No one dared interrupt. Some looked down, others clenched their fists in anger, but none spoke. The human leader continued. "We gave you a warning. You ignored it. We gave you mercy. You spat on it. So we showed you the truth." His gaze hardened. "Now you understand." The young alien delegate who had always doubted leaned forward. His voice was low. "What do you want from us?" The leader turned his eyes on him. "Not what we want, what we demand. No more slavery, no more chains, no more theft. Humanity will never kneel again. From this day, the galaxy changes." The chamber trembled with whispers. One alien ruler finally stood, his body shaking. "And if we refuse?" The human leader stepped closer, his eyes locked on the alien. His words were like iron. "Then you will end." A long silence followed. It was not the silence of mockery or arrogance. It was the silence of fear. The delegates knew the words were true. They had seen the fleets burn. They had seen the warlords fall. The human leader raised his hand. A hologram filled the chamber. It showed wreckage of the United Fleet. It showed worlds, once proud, now reduced to silence. "This is not conquest," he said. "This is order for centuries. You ruled through fear and greed. Now fear belongs to you. Now order belongs to us." Another alien, her voice breaking, whispered, "And if we submit, what then? Will you destroy us still?" The human's eyes softened for the first time. "No, if you choose peace, you will live. You will rebuild. But under our watch, you will not mock us. You will not enslave us. You will not forget." "For we do not forget." The chamber fell quiet again. The young delegate whispered to himself, "They are not conquerors. They are reminders." His mentor turned toward him, his voice bitter. "Reminders of what?" The young one met his gaze. "Reminders of patience, and of what happens when patience ends." Outside, through the wide chamber windows, the human fleet floated in silence. Thousands of ships encircled the station, their weapons powered but not firing. It was not an invasion, it was a warning. The galaxy could see it and understand. Back on Earth, crowds filled the cities. Watching the broadcasts from the council, humanity stood united. Every word spoken echoed not only across stars, but through the hearts of its people. A young girl asked her father, "Will they hurt us again?" The father placed his hand on her shoulder. "Not while we stand. Not while we remember." In the chamber, after hours of silence and trembling whispers, one by one, the alien rulers lowered their banners. They stood not in pride, but in surrender. Their voices were faint as they spoke. "We accept, we submit, we will follow." The human leader gave a single nod. He did not smile, he did not boast, he only said, "Then the new order begins." The soldiers turned and marched, their boots striking the floor in unison. The sound echoed through the chamber. Every alien present would remember that sound. It was not the sound of conquerors, but of a people who had endured, who had risen, and who would never be mocked again. As the humans left, the young delegate sat frozen. He whispered to himself, "We thought we ruled the galaxy, but all along, the galaxy belonged to them." His voice shook. "And now we must live with what we awakened, outside." The fleets moved silently back into the dark, but their presence remained in every mind. The galaxy would never laugh at humanity again, for the humans had spoken the one word that changed everything, the word that had started the war, ended the chains and rewritten the stars. That word was enough.